Hey guys, welcome back. I've done a video before where I showed you how we butcher up or at least quarter out a rabbit, and we have occasion to do it again. But I'm going to throw in a little twist, meaning I'm going to do more of these, and I'm just going to use a different knife every time. And this is really for the guys over in the Bussy Knife Forum. Figured it'd be neat for them to see different knives doing it. So the first time I made a video of this, I used a Bussy SOB. This time I'm using the Psycho prototype. I believe this is a WS-1020 or something of that nature. But I early identified this as an awesome rabbit knife, and we'll find out how awesome of a knife it is. First thing I'm going to do is just kind of lay this rabbit out, just kind of checking it out. Man, she's got a lot of fat in it. This is a fairly large size rabbit. So in quartering out the rabbit, I like to find, I'll start off with the hindquarters here, and I find that area right where the blade meets. Almost like if you were to think of a shoulder blade, right in there. And once I find that area, I guess it's about right there, I actually think. I just get in there and cut. If I can get underneath of that, as you see there. And when I do that, she just comes right off. Pretty easy to quarter this out. You really shouldn't be coming in contact with any bone. You're just going right underneath where the blade meets, and you can pretty much free it out without having to cut any bone, so to say. You see, this makes a liar out of me, but sometimes it's easier than others to get that free. And there you go. So there's another hind quarter there. So then I kind of move up to the upper quarters, and I do pretty much the same thing. I find that spot right here, right where the shoulder blade meets, and the knife is performing pretty well. Now granted, I've got a really nice edge on this knife, but as you see, it cuts it off and quarters it out. Pretty nice. You have a really good handle to get a hold of, meaning the handle, as you see, is pretty much bigger than the blade. So it is really easy to manipulate this thing around. I think because this rabbit is so big, where I may have problems is when it's going to come to actual bone. But we'll see. We'll see. So, man, this rabbit is huge. So one of the things that I typically do around this point, look at all of that fat, is I'll cut off these little side skirts here because those fry up pretty neat by themselves. So if I can kind of get those off, and I'm really cutting it right along the edge of the rib to get a little flank here, I guess you could kind of call that. Sometimes I call them the skirts, the flank, but let me turn this to get a better angle at it. But you can see it's pretty much right along where the rib would be. And it kind of fries up pretty nice by itself as a flank piece, if you will. So then I use a little bit of human power to break this apart and get towards where the ribs are going to be. And the ribs pretty much end up being dog food. So if you hear that crunch there, I'm kind of using a little bit of leverage with the knife to break those ribs. And this is where the size of this rabbit really start to see an issue, at least with this size of a knife, is that it can get a little tricky in through there. But give it a little bit of elbow grease, and I don't want to take too much of that meat there, because basically everything that I'm cutting here, I don't think anybody really makes a delicacy out of rabbit ribs. So everything here is going to pretty much go to the dog. So that, all of that is going to go to the dog. She likes raw rabbit meat. I'm going to do the same thing. Kind of, these ribs go down to about here. So I'm going to get into there, give a little bit of meat to the dog, and just start cutting and separating these ribs right at that point. And I suppose I wouldn't have to be as gingerly with it because most of this neck area I'm going to give to the dog as well. But I want to preserve as much of it in pieces that I can give to the dog kind of as a snack at a time here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off this little portion right here as a dog treat. And I have to give it some elbow grease, but the knife is perfectly capable of it. And then I'm going to cut about right here. I'm going to give the rest of it to the dog. And this center body piece with, once we kind of take some more of the fat off of it. But this piece right here, let's see, I'll cut it right around here, will be what we then keep. And sometimes my wife likes me to cut that. She's nodding her head right now. So what we'll typically do is cut this in half too. And really, at the end of the day, we probably get about 3 meals out of this. This knife isn't doing a bad job. Have to put on a lot of elbow grease, but cutting that spine, as you see there, does the trick though. So even with a knife this small, bunny that big, I'm able to get it all. Everything else here, I'm just going to give to the dog. You know, I did cut a little bit of meat right there. You see that, you know, I probably could have done a better job. But I'm also directing this film. So it's kind of hard to be the actor and the director. And the producer. And if you don't believe me, just ask Alec Baldwin right now. It's very, very tough to do this. However, we're not going to have any knife accidents because our armor is pretty rock solid. All right, guys. So this was the Psycho prototype doing the job this time. And next time, I'll just try a different knife. And we can just have some fun with the bussy knives and seeing how they cut up rabbits. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you.